Hi, let's have a look inside the box of a 1/72 T-33 from Platz. Okay, so what do we get in the box? First off, a little bit about the kit. The history of the kit, if we discount all the reboxings, there's only 6 1/72 T-33s since 1969. The most recent one is this one by Platz, which first saw the light of day in 2012. They've reboxed it a few times, so it's obviously done well. Tan Model also used the same sprues in their kit of the T-33, which I believe also did pretty well. So the pedigree is pretty good. Looks like it should be a good kit based on the history. So let's have a look at the box itself. Colourful box top, headquarters flight 40th anniversary 1997. And if we look on the bottom, there's an overview picture of the aircraft. Usual stuff on the outside. Let's open up the box, look inside. We have a flyer for their Sukhoi 27, which is reviewed elsewhere. There's a video of this online. And there's all the sprues are in one bag, clear parts bagged separately. Set of instructions, look at those in a second. And a big old decal sheet with lots of options. So a quick look at this decal sheet, the instructions. Mostly Japanese, but there's a bit of English there. Turning over, usual steps, starting with the cockpit, fuselage, wings, putting together piece by piece. They look nice and clear, no issues. Sprue layout over the page. Decals, there's the colour option. You actually have a second decal option, which is the same aircraft, but without the colourful scheme. So I'll go through these step by step, do some close-ups of relevant parts. If you want to see the close-ups of on the screen, on big screen, not on the video, and other photographs of the sprues and other parts, go to the website. There's a full gallery of close-ups there, plus some more information. And now we'll start going through the instructions and pull up the parts onto the screen. The instructions are clearly laid out and easy to follow, and colours are called out in Mr. Colour and Model Master. All the exterior parts show nice recessed panel lines and raised detail where appropriate. No flash was evident on any of the sprues. The ejector pin marks are in places where they won't be seen after the kit is built, and the sprue attachment points are nice and small. The instructions are over 11 steps. Step 1 covers the cockpit assembly, and the instrument panels show some nice raised detail, although you do have the option of removing those and using the supplied decals. The seats, however, do not have seatbelts. Step 2 puts the completed cockpit assembly inside the two halves of the front part of the fuselage. The nose wheel bay goes in at this stage, along with the engine air intakes and the canopy. There's some nice detail around the engine air intakes, and finally recessed panel lines on the fuselage. The canopy looks very clear and should still afford a good view of the cockpit when it's in place. There is a note to add 3 grams of weight inside the nose to make sure the aircraft does not sit on its tail. Step 3 is assembling the rear half of the fuselage. The vertical stabilizer is completely moulded on the port side of the fuselage, so you might have to watch out for a deeper than normal panel line on the starboard side at the bottom of the vertical stabilizer. The engine exhaust goes in at this stage, although it could probably be saved until later. I noticed the interior of these rear fuselage halves has internal details, which makes me think that at some point there was perhaps a complete engine kit available, which would have been seen if the rear fuselage assembly was not fitted. Step 4 sees the wing assembled from a complete lower wing and port and starboard upper wings. There's a couple of solid pins to ensure correct wing alignment. Again, there's some interior detail on the top of the lower wing. Step 5 is the nose gear assembly, and the level of detail looks very good, as does the nose wheel. Step 6 is the main gear assembly, and again the undercarriage legs and wheels themselves look very good. The undercarriage doors look very good from the outside, and have a couple of quite large locating pins to ensure they fit correctly on the undercarriage leg. These large pins should be almost invisible when the gear is assembled in place on the aircraft though. Step 7 is putting the air brakes together in the extended position should you decide to display them this way. Obviously they can also be fitted fully retracted. I've built one of these kits before, and this was one of the things I had to test for a couple of times to make sure I had them assembled correctly. Step 8 is quite straightforward and puts together the 2 tip tanks. Step 9 brings together some of the larger components where the front and rear fuselage, wing and tip tanks are all brought together. Step 10 is the nose gear installation, where the nose gear, undercarriage doors, air brakes and an aerial are fitted. Step 11 is the main gear installation, along with more undercarriage doors, a part inside the detailed undercarriage bay, and a final aerial. There are 2 decal options, both for the same aircraft but at different times in its service. The main option and the one featured on the box top is a colourful 40th anniversary paint scheme, while the other option is in mostly natural metal. The decal sheet contains lots of small stencils and looks to be very good. One thing I've noticed is that Platz pay a lot of attention to the decal sheets, make sure they contain all the decals that are needed. The colours all look to be good and everything's in register. The kit is available online. I found it for about $18.50. In conclusion, this is a very nice kit of the T-33, probably the best kit available on the market right now, with fine recessed panel lines and some nice detail. The main decal option is bright and colourful, and the assembly should present no problems. The only thing I might add myself are some seatbelts. So many thanks to Platz for sending the kit along for review. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe.